welcome to episode 14 of Me Dark Presents Scary Movie Madness.
Woo! We are back again.
We are back. We have two movies to talk about this time.
Yep.
And we also have a head-to-head later on that I'm very excited about.
Oh my God, we're bringing back head-to-head. I'm still the lead, 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, the last one we did was the Christmas songs, which was, I got closer in that one.
You did get closer.
I won the first one right out the gate. And then
I knew you were going to win the first one.
Oh, yeah.
I had a feeling. Once you picked some of yours, I was like, yeah.
Well, once you let me have Carrie as the two
That's
pick,
what I mean. I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
She beats everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That was my miss. I had the opportunity and I didn't take it, but I learned in the subsequent head-to-heads.
Yeah, and you've been killing me.
And I get a leg up again because I'm the winner from the last. Time to bring them back.
Very, very exciting news. We have reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Insane.
In 14 episodes, 1,000 subscribers is pretty good.
I'll take it.
Because we started this beginning of October.
Mm-hmm. It's like 100.
So we're like 3 months in, a little over 3 months in.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Hopefully that means that we're doing something right. But to celebrate, we wanted to do another giveaway.
Yep.
We are not going to reveal it here, but we'll post it on Instagram. We'll have all the details of how to win that contest in the Instagram post itself. So we'll reveal exactly what it is and all the details on how you can win.
So make sure you turn on post notifications for Me Dark Presents so you get that update as soon as it's live.
And if you haven't, for whatever reason, if you're coming across this video and you're not subscribed, we would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe and rate and review if you can. That kind of stuff.
Really
that just helps us grow even faster.
And we want to do even bigger and better giveaways. We have so many things that we're like, oh, what about this one? What about this one? But we got to work our way out.
Yeah. So we watched WandaVision on Friday night.
Oh my God. I wasn't even sure I was going to love this.
You didn't really know much about it. I had read a lot about it. So I was kind of prepared for how weird it was going to be. I knew the whole sitcom thing was coming. And I knew that, things aren't really what they seem.
I knew that because I knew that little bit of it. Because obviously, spoiler alert if you didn't see Infinity War, I know what happened there, right? Like with Vision
the whole backstory,
and how devastated she was.
I've keyed you in on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least.
Right, because this taps into something that people don't really know about Wanda from the Avengers, and that's that she can create alternate realities, right?
She has all sorts of mind warping powers.
It's like she has a little bit of every Infinity Stone, right? Isn't that what
her
it is?
Her powers do in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they do come from an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
But I'm loving everything that they're doing with it is really, really cool. I was disappointed that they are releasing these every week though.
Which was funny because I said to you, I was like, oh, is this one that you were just going to binge watch? I was like, I feel like this is one that I would want to wait. And you're like, no. And then you realized and you were like, wait.
I'm like, yeah, there are only 2 episodes. Like this is not the whole season.
But I love that because, if you haven't seen it yet, it's starting with is it 50s? 50s. Mm-hmm. 50s is the starting point. And you're really getting these old school vibes. I grew up watching Nick at Night and all these really great shows. And so when we were watching it, and it was like...
They do the whole sitcom thing, the studio audience, the 4:3 aspect ratio, the black and white.
And you didn't even, you didn't know what they were referencing, but I knew immediate. And I was like, this one's Dick Van Dyke.
The whole time, but it was Dick Van Dyke, yeah.
The first was Dick Van Dyke.
Mm-hmm. And then it kind of spills into Bewitched in the second one, because they even did a whole animated sequence to open up the episode, just specifically mimicking Bewitched.
I love it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just excited to see what other shows they pull from because I just felt the nostalgia. I think, she does such an incredible, Elizabeth Olsen does such an incredible job with the character. And it's just so fun to watch, even though there's dark moments.
It's an exciting one. I'm excited for the whole rest of the series. It's amazing.
It's definitely a change from watching 90 Day Fiancé on Sundays.
Yes. Which, also has its place in the world.
Still has its place, very much so.
No, I highly, highly recommend it. It's really tough with the MCU. It's hard to recommend it to people that don't really watch or know the movies. A lot of the best parts that you get out of stuff like this is knowing the whole story.
Yeah, because even when you watch the YouTubes after of did you catch these little
the Easter egg nerds?
Eggs?
Yeah.
But it's blows my mind the shit that they catch. And I'm like, holy crap, you're right.
I'll tell you what I will not recommend is this movie Songbird that I came across. And I originally was watching this with the idea that, maybe this will be a Me Dark Presents thing. And it was so bad that I'm like, I don't want to talk about this movie. I want to forget it exists. There's this new movie called Songbird. It's like the premise is around like a pandemic, right? And they even it's even called like COVID something. But it's honestly, I'm not even going to get into it's a complete waste of time.
I'm just going to really go out on a limb and let you know, like, I watched this and I can't remember what it was all about.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Because that's how bad it was.
It sucks ass. So if you do happen to come across
it doesn't
this
even
movie,
suck
Songbird,
in a good way.
But like, here's the thing is like, I watched the trailer and the trailer looks like it's something interesting. Yeah. So this is like a PSA to anyone. If you watch the trailer and you're like, oh, I might want to watch that movie. It's because now it's available for rent. We rented this movie for $20.
What a waste.
Yeah, it's a piece of crap. Which will launch right into our first movie, I think, because we watched The Invisible Man from 2020. And
seemed promising.
I had a mixed reaction going into this one because I remember when the trailer hit for this movie and I just remember going, it doesn't look interesting. I never cared about these Invisible Man stuff. Like, I looked this up. There have been 16 movies made featuring an invisible person of some kind. 16.
Isn't The Invisible Man like a really old movie too?
The original Invisible Man, I think, is like 1933. Yeah. I've never seen it. It was part of the whole like Universal movie monsters.
Yeah.
Which he was always the lamest one. They remake it again. I remember they did do one with Kevin Bacon, I think, in the 90s. It wasn't called The Invisible Man. Oh, it was called Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, Hollow Man is infinitely better than this movie.
Yo, you just brought like childhood memories back. Yeah. It's making me remember like jokes that we had as kids about that movie. We watched it in theaters. Now I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw it in theaters, but I've seen it a couple times. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I even just know that even if I went to revisit it again, it would be better than this. It's saying something because this movie got like really good reviews, right? Yes. So this was what kind of made me circle back to it and go, all right, it is a new horror film. It has some good reviews. Maybe the trailer just, didn't ignite anything in me, but maybe when I actually turn this on, I will enjoy it.
We'll give it a chance.
So this movie is written and directed by this guy, Lee Wannell. So I looked him up. This guy is one of the original writers in the Saw franchise. He helped write the first Saw movie.
First Saw movie is
great.
It's incredible.
It was a groundbreaking film at the time. It launched this whole huge franchise, right? I mean, they really made that first Saw movie for very little money.
The best part of the Saw movies is that like you can do the franchise and the story can pretty much be the same and it's still terrifying because the contraptions and what the
concept
game is
around it.
Yeah, like everyone is the same thing. We trap a bunch of people in a space and give them fucked up shit to do. And it's like, all right, how many times can you do that? But it's more and more terrifying every time. Like I think about all of those scenes a lot and wonder how that person's
I still feel like
jail.
the initial setup of how they do the original Saw is the most terrifying.
Yeah.
All the subsequent ones they do after that are sort of, it's kind of like what you're saying. They're satisfying the concept, but in more and more grandiose ways, right? Because we have bigger budgets. We can have bigger, more elaborate setups. They're fun movies, really. Yeah. But the original Saw, if left untouched or even left apart from the others, I think is just a great practice in horror, right?
Yeah.
And this guy, he played actually a recurring character, Adam, in the Saw franchise. He's mainly an actor. He hasn't really directed much. So Elizabeth Moss stars in this one. She plays Cecilia Cass, is the character's name. Elizabeth Moss being a pretty huge star.
Yeah.
We never watched Mad Men.
We never watched Mad Men, but I did watch a lot of Handmaid's Tale, and then you didn't like it after a while, so it kind of fell off.
I was ridiculously bored with Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just not for me. I know a lot of people enjoy it. I just had a lot of trouble with the pacing of the show. The
realisticness of it.
She's in a very stressful situation right off the bat, right? Because we learn that she's in this very abusive relationship.
This guy's a nut.
Because as soon as we're introduced to her, she's sneaking out of the bed.
A compound.
She has, oh my God, yeah, their house is ridiculous. It's like a crazy mansion. So you get like this idea that this guy, he's into something big, like he's ridiculously well off. So she's sneaking out. She's got her bags packed. She's really terrified of the whole prospect of doing this. This is like, you can tell She's taking the leap.
Yep.
She accidentally sets off the car alarm and she's like, all right, that's it. He's waking up. I got to get out of here. Scales this giant wall. She's got her sister on the other side, like the getaway car ready to go.
This also frustrates me.
Yeah, because he runs up, he catches up to them, and they're just not going. Because they're
She's
just
asking so many fucking questions.
Yeah,
Ask the
just sitting
questions while you drive.
Yeah.
What is happening?
You know that this is an immediate threat. Like this guy, he's woken up. He's on his way over. Like drive the car.
You're picking your sister up on the side of the road
to escape her abusive husband.
Through the woods. If I called my sister and was like, okay, don't ask questions. Just be at this spot at this time.
And we got to go.
And once I get in the car, just hit the gas and go. My sister would be like, you got it.
Yep.
And that would be that. She wouldn't even ask any other questions.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Just get me the fuck out. No, this bitch wants to have a story time.
Annoying.
Then this guy makes the same route
This guy
quickly.
Terminator T2 runs and just smashes the car window. Do you know how hard it is to smash a car window with your bare hands?
We're going to talk about this not once, but twice today.
That's true. Yeah, because the other movie that we're going to talk about has this exact same thing where just the character just right through the window. With
not
your bare
even
hands.
like a few punches. Just one straight.
One shot. Just, again, this is like a Wes Craven thing, right? I need the window to break. So there's a threat. The way I've written the scene, that's the threat where it's like he almost gets there but doesn't. So I have to have the window break. It doesn't have to make sense.
He could have had a hammer. Nope, just fist. Like, let's think about this for a minute. Like, if you crash your car in a lake, your windows just don't instantaneously burst from the pressure of the entire fucking lake.
Yeah.
But this guy has enough strength in his one arm to break it on the first hit.
They do make this guy, Adrian, ridiculously strong. Obviously, he's a big dude, but
he might as well be the Hulk.
He has like superpowers in this movie.
No.
So yeah, this sets the whole chain of events off because now she's going to go stay with her friend, who a couple days later, she finds out like, oh no, Adrian, he died. He's dead. You're free.
And it's like, wait, that was that easy? He killed himself? He's that upset over me?
That's it. So when she gets the news of his death, you can kind of see there's not really much relief, right? It doesn't feel like she's relieved.
She's like, this is suspect
She's skeptical.
as shit.
Yeah, she's skeptical. So I'm going to jump right into like the fucking breakfast scene, right? This is really the first time that we see Adrian fucking with her as an invisible man.
Yep.
She's at her friend's house. She's staying with her friend James and his daughter Sydney. James is a cop. Cecilia's making breakfast in their kitchen. We get this shot. She's cooking two fried eggs and some bacon all in the same cast iron pan, right? Anybody that's cooked eggs and bacon, you know that these two things have totally different cook times. Fried egg it's really quick. It's like, you're working that thing for a couple minutes, 3 minutes, you're done if you're doing it right. So they show the shot and like the fried egg is like pretty much cooked. It's almost done. The bacon looks like raw. None of the fat is rendered, blah, blah, blah. So like, I'm already going, this is stupid. Like, I don't like poor attention to detail. Like you're showing me.
If you're going to take that shot.
Yeah, you're showing me a close up overhead shot of the eggs and bacon in the pan. And because the whole thing with this is Adrian, when she steps away for all of 10 seconds, maybe leaves the room, he just turns the burner up on the range to full blast. And suddenly, within another 10-second period of time, this starts a fucking fire in the pan. Like smoke's coming up, like there's flames everywhere. I'm like, no shit, like that's not how physics works. So I'm like, all right. This guy, like this is a huge stretch. And I know how I am. Nobody else is thinking about that but me.
No.
Nobody.
Because I almost set our kitchen on fire when we were in the apartment and it happened all that quickly.
No. Not from that. It would never happen that
Definitely
quickly,
did.
Not that easily.
I witnessed it. I was there.
No. It does not work like that.
I mean, again, I feel differently about that, but
Let's test it. I will test it.
Let's test it. Let me set my kitchen on fucking fire.
No, I'm not confident that this would never happen.
Stop.
I will cook eggs and bake. Well, first of all, I'll cook the eggs first like an asshole. Right? And then I'll put the raw bacon next to it. And then oh, we'll go from medium heat to high heat and we'll step away for 30 seconds and see what happens. Guarantee you it ain't going on fire.
I don't remember what I was cooking, but it happened like in the blink. It went from like nothing to like, oh, my whole stove area is covered in soot.
I don't know.
From flames.
I can't speak to that. I can only speak to this.
Agreed.
And it doesn't make sense. There's a whole series of these. This is basically what the movie is, right? It's a series of scenes with him,
where we go, what?
Him haunting her as an invisible man.
Yes. But I mean, there's that whole, like, she also just, again, deteriorates mentally to like such a point.
Yeah, everybody
that's, like,
thinks
insane.
she's crazy, right? It's a predictable plot line. It's like, she's going to catch on to this before everybody else. You just know before you watch the movie. She's going to catch on to it before everybody else. And then everybody's going to think she's crazy because people aren't invisible. Like, he's dead. We all have the evidence that he died.
I think, though, one of the things I can say is that I definitely was duped throughout, at least in where I went through the two other scenarios, right? Your two other scenarios are, it's the brother doing it the whole time because he's so mad that his brother killed himself. First, it went from
I know they try to do the misdirection.
Right.
thing.
And then second, I was like, all right, it's the brother. It's the brother getting redemption because he's mad.
Yeah. And, again, like, we're talking about horror movies here, right? And I struggle to find any moment in this entire film that is even remotely scary. Like, to call this horror is absolutely an insult. Like, there's nothing scary. There's maybe one scene, which we will get to. There's one scene in this movie that I thought was really cool. But other than that, it's sort of standard fare. It's like he comes in the middle of the night while she's sleeping and he pulls the covers off of her, right? And he flicks the light a little bit. Like
ghosts.
Yeah. There's, what's the other one? Oh, he attacks her when nobody's home and she ends up going into the attic to escape him and she pours this white paint all over and it finally like reveals. It's sort of like the moment where she confirms that there's somebody there. They're just invisible.
Right. She finds the phone, the knife thing, that.
So she pours this paint all over him. He goes into the kitchen and he's able to somehow get every ounce of paint off of him so he can be invisible again within, a couple minutes span. Like, everything is very convenient in this movie.
In the sink, no less, in the kitchen with no remnants other than what's in the sink.
Also, the arrogance on this guy. Like, if I was doing this and that had happened to me and I was like, shit, I have fucking paint all over me. Like, she's going to see me. My first instinct wouldn't be, let me go to the kitchen and wash all this paint off. I'd be like, let me just get the fuck out of here. I can clean this up. I can come back whenever. I can be invisible. I can do this whenever I want. This attempt failed. Let's circle back.
If only I was invisible, I could get out of here real fast.
Let's regroup. But no, because we have to have this fight scene where, they struggle in the kitchen, which this is actually pretty cool. It's like
one of the cooler scenes.
The VFX is cool in the fight scene. Like, it really does look like she's fighting somebody that's not there.
Yeah.
I like how they do all like the imprints on her clothing. Even and stuff like that.
You could tell someone was really dragging her hair and they did the work.
It's tricky stuff. It's tricky stuff to do. It looked really clean.
Yeah.
But again, they have him do like these ridiculous things where he can just like lift her up by her neck, or he can just like with like a basic amount of effort just throw her across the room like
flying,
like a superhero.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else picks up on this stuff while you're watching, but like, these things like really take me out of a movie. Like, I think about this stuff.
I mean, I definitely think about it, but then sometimes I'm just like, all right, it's just a movie, Dolores. It's just a movie. It's not meant to make sense always.
We get this other dumb shit scene where, Cecilia's on the floor. She's crying. I think this is sort of the aftermath of what she just went through in this scene. And Sydney's in the room with her. She's trying to console her. And again, Cecilia's laying on the ground. She's no threat. She's crying. She's upset. And Sydney's trying to like console her. And they're like a few feet away from each other. Adrian's there again. And he just hauls off and just just nails Sydney right in the face. Just punches her. Somehow doesn't knock her out. But then Sydney goes, she hit me. She hit, like, bitch, you just saw that she didn't hit you. Yeah. You're looking at her. She's on the floor. She hasn't moved. Something else hit you. But no, that's not how the plot has to work. We have to get James upset with Cecilia and get her out of the house so she's like
alone.
Yeah, she's spiraling. So how do we do that? let's put them in a room and we'll have Adrian hit Sydney, and Sydney will wrongfully blame Cecilia, and James will get mad and kick her out.
You could have easily have made this without hitting Sydney, something that like Sydney's just scared, right? Sydney's scared because Cecilia's so disheveled and unraveling, and like it's.
But then we wouldn't get another stupid invisible man scene. Like I don't know what to say. Like, how did this movie get good ratings?
I don't know, because people have bad taste.
It's really baffling to me. Like,
again,
this is a
think
huge
about
movie with a big budget and like a superstar actress. Like, this is the best you could do.
Think about like all the Freddy movies that people love, and we're like, all right, well, let's watch the one that everyone says is the best, and it was still bad. Very bad. And there were movies at the same time that were good. So
this is Blumhouse again. And, you know, they did that freaky movie that we talked about. They did the Happy Death Day stuff. I think that's their wheelhouse. Like, stick to like the comedic horror stuff. Don't try to dabble in like this serious stuff that's like supposed to be scary. It's not. There's nothing scary.
This was not. This wasn't making me worry about going to bed.
And then even like the reveal of the invisible suit is stupid. It's like this suit that just has thousands of camera lenses all over it.
Which doesn't make sense. How is that going to make you invisible?
I don't know. How is it a camera and a monitor at the same time?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't.
Is the camera just shooting everything behind you, and then the front part is like
showing
that? But that's not how lenses work. Like, lenses don't just like take a little. I mean, I guess maybe these things are stitching the image together.
I would love to know.
It doesn't really
be in the writing room where they're like, all right,
how, you know, we need to make this look like a practical.
Okay, this guy's really smart with optics. Yeah. What would he build? What would be the suit that makes you invisible? And some guy just like, I don't know, cover it in some camera lenses.
Yeah, lenses.
And people are like, great.
That's
the only idea we have. That's what we're doing.
I mean, that's essentially what it seems like it is. And again, the camera would have to work from both sides. Like, now I'm thinking about it. It's
yes,
like,
that's what I mean.
It does have, because if you're behind, if he's facing the other way, then yeah, you would just see his back.
Yeah.
So these cameras have to simultaneously be able to shoot the environment around them, but then also project or monitor what's being shot in real time. If memory serves, in Hollow Man, isn't it like some sort of like injection thing?
Yeah.
It's some sort of like matter altering substance. And to me, I'm like, that makes more sense. And it's harder for me as a viewer to disprove that concept than you showing me technology that I'm
you show me a guy covered in camera lenses.
How camera lenses work. Like,
also, how does it not make sound?
I don't know. Yeah,
every move is a lens hitting another lens.
Yeah,
like
he's
there's
ninja.
Every inch there's no fabric on the suit. They're purely interconnected cameras.
It's a great point. Like, there's hardwood floors throughout this house. Just him walking with all of this. Like, how much does
he became weightless too?
How much does the suit weigh?
But that's my thing. Like, so you're invisible and you're weightless, thus making no noise.
It's so stupid.
But you're also the strongest person ever.
Yeah, he's unencumbered. So the best scene in this movie, and I'll probably just end it with this because, you know, I think you pretty much get the gist of like what I found to be stupid. And even in this scene, as cool as it is, there is something stupid about it, of course.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where, you know, her and her sister are in a restaurant, and, you know, they're having this really intense conversation, and Elizabeth Moss is just killing it with this dialogue. And she really looks, like you said, like by the end of the movie, she's like
a different person. She's destroyed.
She's so distraught and like she's not really caring about what she looks like. She's just so hyper focused on the improbability of what's going on.
Yeah.
And great moment for Elizabeth Moss. She absolutely nails this scene. She is pretty good throughout the movie. She's a good actress.
She is. Yeah. She just got dealt a shit script.
But this is where she really nails it and put it over the top for me. And then suddenly, like, you see this look on her sister's face, like her whole expression changes.
Like, I'm watching you, but something happens and I just go.
Yeah. And it cuts back over to Cecilia, and she kind of pauses, like, because she notices her sister's face. What the fuck is going on?
Hand up.
There's a knife floating right next to her face, and you just know. And
then it just goes right in her hand.
Well, he slices her sister's throat first and then throws it into her hand, framing her.
Yeah. But again, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yep. Maybe you're going to point out what's so stupid about it.
The fact that like she held it.
No, I don't mind that.
Really?
Yeah, she's in shock.
You want me to throw a knife at you and see what happens?
I buy it. She's in shock.
No shot.
She's sort of like, at this point, it's like people have turned around and they saw her with the knife. Like dropping it now doesn't mean anything.
I want you to look back at this scene and tell me if it makes sense. You're thinking of it in a very different way than it actually happened. But
no,
yes.
I remember it. I watched it today.
It's not realistic, but agree to disagree.
Here's what I thought was stupid, and I didn't pick up on when I watched the movie, and I didn't even pick up on it when I rewatched the scene today until I really started like thinking about it. The knife on the table. Why is it there? They don't have their food. They have nothing. They've pretty much just sat down.
It's a fancy restaurant. The table settings are there already.
Okay, fine. Let's say that they've
But this
given
isn't
them
the knife.
Let's say that they've given them a knife as part of their place setting. Usually you don't get a knife. You get like a butter knife as part of your place setting, but whatever. Let's say it's a steak knife. This ain't a fucking steak knife either. This is like a full-on chef's butcher knife that like
he got it from the kitchen.
But why is it on the table?
Because no, it wasn't on the table. I think it's that he's the invisible man.
He walked it over to her,
yeah,
and we just don't.
He snuck into the kitchen as the invisible man, has the knife, and made his way to the
That's
restaurant.
even dumber.
I know, because it means that a knife was floating through the fucking restaurant.
There's no way.
And everyone was like, "No, that's fine.
I choose to believe
Everything's fine."
I choose to believe it was already on the table.
No shot.
Which is already dumb because a knife like that is not ever on the table at a restaurant.
It's more believable.
They don't give you those knives.
No, agreed. It's more believable.
If he got it from the kitchen, as you suggest,
yeah,
which is a more believable scenario as to why that knife is there. What the fuck? Why would you risk stealing this from the fucking kitchen? And obviously, like you said, everybody's going to see a knife floating around.
That's the part that gets me the most. Was like I assumed he got it from the kitchen. I'm not like I didn't even have that.
I figured no.
But
it
I
was on
remember
the
just
table.
watching it, going, first of all, this waiter is annoying as fuck. Second, what the hell? Where would this knife have just appeared from? And if he grabbed it from the kitchen, how the fuck did he get from the kitchen to the table? And no one was like, oh, there's just a knife. Must be an effect of this fancy restaurant.
Both stupid, but all of that aside, regardless of how the knife got there. This is the one scene where I was like, I was kind of like taken aback, and it like made me feel something.
Yeah,
but
because it's her sister.
Yeah,
they're mending and in the middle of
it was a combination of Elizabeth Moss' performance,
conversation.
Yeah, the fact that you do kind of you like the sister and you like their relationship. It's sort of her last lifeline, and for him to do this right in front of her in public and frame her for it, that's a powerful scene. Best scene in the movie, I thought. I mean, regardless of how the fucking knife got there.
Right.
Let's move on. We're gonna move on to a total under the radar one. Obviously, Invisible Man was a huge blockbuster release, with plenty of budget.
Out of all of our followers, this next one.
Yeah,
nobody said that they have seen this.
Yeah, I've never heard of this movie before either. This movie's called The Cleaning Lady. It's from 2018. It's from a couple years ago.
Yep.
It has since popped up on our Prime Video feed. Obviously, we watch a lot of horror movies, so a lot of suggestions come through. And every once in a while, like, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but I do tend to do that with like movie posters. Like, if your movie poster or your movie image isn't really well done, I just have this thing in my mind that like the movie probably isn't either.
Yeah.
So this one actually, it caught my eye because it's this great image of this woman wearing a mask, but the mask is like of someone else's face. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this kind of looks like movie. It's like a slasher kind of thing. So I click on it and, I'm reading the description about it. Sounds interesting. Directed by John Knotts, written by John Knotts and Alexis Kendra. Alexis Kendra is the star of this film. She plays Alice, which I thought was pretty impressive. I'm like, she's done a lot of shorts, and The Cleaning Lady was a short that they had done in 2016. And I guess it had some success, or it had some legs as a short, so they were able to finally make it into, finally make a movie into a feature. So right off the bat, like I'm reading about this, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I like this kind of stuff. Because you never know like when you'll catch like the first big film of like the next big director. This one opens with a bang. And I think this even made it into our Instagram story when you were posting that we were watching this film.
And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, talk about what happens here in the beginning.
Oh my! Well, first of all, you're just looking at a box of little innocent rats or mice minding their business, and you see this dirty, nasty hand reach in and just start grabbing the mice, and you're like, "What? What's happening? What's happening?" And then you see the blender, and then you see the mice go into the blender, and then you say to yourself, "No, I don't care how much you hate mice or rats, you don't want to see this." But sure enough, that shit gets blended up.
Yeah, she blends
And then I'm like,
up.
all right, well, they didn't show me the blending. Great. I just heard the sound.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Here we go. Poured into a bowl.
Yeah, you see little chunks in there, which is neat.
Really dark shit. And then
love it.
you're like, is she going to eat it? What is this going to? What's happening? And then she brings it to...
No, she just puts it in the fridge. And then
Is this the
that's
scene?
opening credits right
Oh,
there. This is how they open the movie. Like
yes,
it's very
you're right.
it's
It
very
goes in the fridge.
ambiguous. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like I love how they said so much there, but like I still really don't know anything.
That was a heavy moment for me.
It was
Coming
they
in with a bang.
And I think it was a necessary way to open this movie because I will say right out the gate, if you're not really a fan of like slower paced horror or like slower burns,
You don't want a story.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you'll like this one because it does take a little while. And I think having that opening scene to sort of tether you
This is
into
a
the
horror movie.
that, yeah, it's like, this is going to be fucked up. Like, we're going to let you know right away. But in the meantime, here's a bunch of story and character building that you have to go through. So the payoff in the end makes sense.
That's your forewarning to shut this shit off if you don't want to puke.
So
today.
yeah, I mean, it definitely is a slower burn. Alexis Kendra, as I mentioned, she plays Alice, who the movie more or less revolves around. Alice represents like this seemingly perfect young woman, right? She's fit, she's pretty, she's an entrepreneur, right? She owns her own business that she runs out of her house. She has really good taste.
She's the doll living in a dollhouse. Like when you're a kid and you have your dollhouse is perfect, and it's your
all
picture
just
of
so.
yeah, it's your picture of like, this is what my house is gonna be like, and I'm gonna live in my little home, and here's my little bedroom, and then I'm gonna go in my little bathtub, and it's like a whole thing.
Everything in its place.
Yes, everything in its place.
So she only has two main flaws, according to her counterpart, Shelley, who is the antagonist in this movie, more or less. Those two flaws being that Alice is a smoker and she is dating a married man, which she struggles with throughout this whole movie. That's really what her main external interior struggle
knows
is
it's fucked
happening.
up.
Yeah.
And then also just the idea of like, I'm in love with this person and I'm waiting, and am I waiting in vain?
Now, I had a problem with the casting of the man she loves, right? Michael, played by this guy, Stilio Savante. He's got a great name, but he's not great at acting.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
It's one of those moments I have with like casting sometimes where I'm like, I just don't get what they were going for here.
They didn't show me anything from this man that was like caring and loving and like that he was charming or this or that. Like he's a mess. He's a fucking mess.
She's going to like these group therapy sessions in the beginning to try to work
for her damage situation.
I loved her
quick.
sponsor.
Yes.
You didn't love her sponsor so much. But I thought Miranda, the character Miranda with that accent.
It's just so weird because this accent, like one girl has nothing.
Well, maybe she moved to the West Coast from the East Coast and she's not going to lose that accent.
Stop.
I thought you didn't like the accuracy of the accent. I thought it was
I don't
good.
like either. That's what I'm saying. Like it's such a weird accent that doesn't actually exist. I would make fun of it right now, but I can't.
It's an over the top version of the accents that you would find in certain parts of New York or Jersey.
No, that's what I mean. Exactly.
Jersey,
it's a person who's confused if they're doing a New York accent or a New Jersey accent who is also Italian. But that's the vibe we're talking about here. That's the kind of accent that you're saying you love.
Yeah. But, as good of a character as she was, the star of this movie, as far as I'm concerned, and really one of the more original characters I've seen in a horror movie in a while, I think, is Shelley, the cleaning lady.
Good. The most understated personality for someone you're supposed to fear.
She's played by, I don't know if I wrote the actress's name down, but this woman has done a lot. She has been in like 100 something movies or whatever since 2011.
What?
I couldn't believe it. Like her work ethic is insane. Like I got to give her props. You've been in the industry like 9 years and you have over 100 acting credits.
Well, this is definitely a character that she owned. Like owned
Rachel Allig is her name. She definitely owned this one. This one, I think, is like it's just the visual of her really felt like it could be like a cult classic kind of thing many years down the road as more people discover this movie.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you also have a female,
yes,
like murderous being?
Well, I mean, and think about it. Like, talk about Shelley's appearance when we first see her, because it is, she is sort of terrifying looking in her own right, even before we get to any of the
before you know her personality,
yeah.
before she speaks, you have that jarring whoa. Like she's very dirty, disheveled, her hair isn't brushed. Like even aside from like the fact that like she has scarring all over her face.
Don't bury the lead. The visual of her is terrifying, mainly because of those burns.
100%, but outside of it is the rest of the story, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the disheveled hair, the dirty hands, clothes that are hanging off of you and are dirty and dingy and whatever. Like you look like
the warped little baseball cap that she wears.
The whole shebang from head to toe was like, whoa, what are you doing in my house?
Yeah.
What's this?
But that whole getup of like her dressed as almost like, as like this maintenance worker, because that's really what she is.
Yeah,
she works
cap,
maintenance
hoodie,
in this building.
Pants, yeah.
She's not really a cleaning lady, right?
But
she's
like,
a maintenance worker.
Look at that building and how beautiful that building is. Ain't nobody allowing the maintenance person to just walk around like that.
Yeah, I don't know. That is one thing. But again, like Shelley is seemingly this really nice, timid, really just like shy, soft-spoken type. And you could see like people who are caring, good individuals, maybe the owner of this building, right? She applies for a job here and he's like, you know what?
I feel bad.
She's a good person. Let's, she wants the job. If she's a hard worker,
who cares?
All the power to her. It's fine. I'll hire her. I'll help somebody out. I buy that. But I love the switch of like, she's dressed as like this maintenance worker who does maintenance in the building. She's in Alice's apartment for that reason. This is how Alice meets her, because there's a rat problem in the building, right? So it circles us back to the rats. And then we kind of see from the look of Shelley, like it was her hand, like that hand that we saw blending up the rats. That was her doing it.
Yeah.
So again, this is why that opening scene is so important to the film, because now I've finally seen Shelley and I know a little bit about Shelley, and it's kind of dark.
My whole face throughout this entire segment is going to be one of just pure like pain and disgust, because like from this point on, shit is rough. I
love the relationship and how it starts with her and Alice being like, you know what, you do such a good job here.
I'll give you a full-time job.
You want to clean my house, twice a week? I'll give you, again, this is like Alice is a good person trying to do a good thing, which I think is really the purpose for Alice in this movie, is her growth of, she's dealing with this awful situation where she loves this man who's married. But at the same time, it's like she's aware that she's doing something wrong. She doesn't like the fact that she's doing something wrong. It does affect her.
Yeah.
And she sees Shelley as somebody like, well, maybe this will be like a chance for me to like heal myself, as I'll do something nice for this person. So she starts cleaning her apartment twice a week. They start getting a little closer to the point where Alice invites her to stay for dinner. Right. So up until this point, the only real things we see of Shelley are her interactions with Alice when she's cleaning the house. And again, she's really soft-spoken. She doesn't say much, doesn't reveal much about herself. But a lot has happened now, and we still don't know anything about Shelley other than she blends rats up and pours them in bowls and leaves them in her fridge. Like, this is like the dangling
carrot.
Yeah, it's like, keep watching.
Like, come on, where are the rats? Where's that bowl?
Shelley's starting to develop this real friendship with Alice, and she never really had a friend before. And you kind of just know that it's starting to spiral into an obsession.
Yeah. Protective obsession.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if this is before or after we get some of the flashbacks of Shelley as a young girl. That's another thing that they do in this movie that's really smart in the writing is let's do these little flashbacks of Shelley as like little nuggets that we can cut in and out of throughout the movie. So they're just revealing a little bit about her at a time.
Yeah.
But talk about this scene where she's in Alice's apartment while Alice is asleep.
Yeah. And you're just seeing her kind of like lingering.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like probably one of the scariest things ever, right? Like you're asleep, you don't know what happens while you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And this person has access to your house.
Yeah. That in and of itself was creepy enough.
That's enough for me. I'm sold.
But they take it a step further.
Yeah. She chloroforms her and she creates this mask.
Mm-hmm.
Blows my mind. So the chloroform thing, first of all, I'm just going to say this on this podcast. God forbid anything happens and someone searches my phone history and I searched, does chloroform really work this quickly? Very common search on Google. It's kind of concerning. No, it does not work that quickly. No. You need like at least 5 minutes for it to infiltrate your system and the toxicity.
I brought this up to you while we were watching the movie. I said, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but this is a thing we see in movies time and time again, right? The whole, I'm gonna put a bunch of chloroform on a rag of some kind. I'll jump behind the person. I'll cover their nose and mouth, and this is gonna knock them out, incapacitate.
Right. I mean, it does
I've seen
work.
this so many times.
It does work, but 5 minutes or more.
Right. And
not
even then,
5 minutes or less.
Even then, I researched this even further, and it is still impossible because yes, you can incapacitate a human with chloroform, and it would, like you say, take 2 to 5 minutes to do. But even then, you do need still a significantly high dose. It has to be a high dose.
Soaked. It has to be like you drop the towel.
So I don't know.
And it's dripping.
I don't know what would be considered a significantly high dose and if that would even fit on a rag.
Well, again, it would have to be soaking. It's like you took a towel and dipped it in a vat of chloroform, pulled it out, and then shoved it on your face and held it down
there for 2 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes.
It's not what we saw.
No.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
She knocks her out, and she goes through this very tedious process, no less.
Which is pretty cool.
Of creating this mask.
Yeah, she makes like a mold.
She makes a mold of her face. Some pretty deep shit.
Yeah, she like paper maches it. She gets the exact form factor of Alice's face.
So now you just think, sleeping, and you have no idea that this shit happened to you, first of all, because that's something that never gets addressed, right? Has no idea that this fucking shit happened. That is terrifying. Okay?
Yeah, so this ends up being, the movie poster shot, right? Of Shelley wearing Alice's face as a mask.
Because that's just the mold. She eventually makes it out of latex and creates
so
this.
Cool. I loved it. So let's talk about those flashbacks of Shelley that we get in the movie, right? Because
also painful.
Yeah, we get introduced to her mom is an absolute crazy person.
But at first you think her mom is this beautiful woman and they live in this I'm like, oh, all right. So she grew up in a really nice house and you're watching it and you're like, all right, her mom is this fiery redhead with a ton of personality. But then
those
you said,
eyes, man, she has these piercing blue, big eyes.
Yeah. And
ice blue.
Bipolar as fuck, right? Flip of a switch, that woman goes from
not a healthy person.
Yeah, she's a mess. Okay. Also an absolute mess. And you see this really great vision of Shelley as this very, pretty young girl. And the darkness that comes with it, right? Her mother is just probably one of the most despicable humans possible.
Yeah. And every time we cut back to those, it just gets significantly worse with her mother's behavior and how Shelley was treated.
Yeah. So her mother is selling her to old men.
Her mom is pimping her out to strange men.
Yep, for money so that she doesn't have to work at the factory. And
well, she does reach that breaking point.
Yeah.
I do like the little dollhouse touch, right? The fact that she has this dollhouse with the pretty perfect.
It's her peace. It's her solace.
Right. With the pretty perfect blonde girl, right? Who lives in the dollhouse. That's Alice. And that control that she had over the perfect life that she could build within this dollhouse, right? Everything around her is chaos. Her mom is obviously an insane person who she's pretty much powerless against, who is, pimping her out to these strange men. Like, she has a really dark reality. So this dollhouse that's her escape from it. She's building this other perfect existence.
And it's a very important moment that you see twice in this movie. But then at the end is when it all comes together and you see like, all right, I get it now. But
yeah, well, I mean, you even can start to piece it together. And part of that is her making the mask of Alice, right? And her, she's over her house late after dinner and Alice is asleep and she goes to like touch her skin. Like, you start to get like these sort of creepy, obsessive vibes, and you can sort of piece together like she's almost treating Alice like the doll in her dollhouse. I'll pair this with, we do get that scene of, this is after Alice drives Shelley home and she kind of drops her off in the middle of nowhere and it's weird.
She's like, right here. Thank you.
And she goes into like this storage container in the woods, basically. And she has the bowl of the blended up rats with her. And she just puts it down. And I'm like, oh, she's like feeding this to somebody. Like, she's in control. Like, oh no, she doesn't live in here. She's holding somebody hostage here.
Yeah.
And she's like, eat the food or I'm going to make you eat it. And we see like this really emaciated, shadowy figure kind of crawl up, like very weak, and put their head in the bowl and start eating it.
I can't even take it.
And you're like, oh my God, like
that's a level of savage that like I couldn't even think of if I was writing a horror movie.
So now I'm thinking, wow, like Shelley like tortures people on the side. Like, she doesn't just, so I'm thinking like, oh, this is the fate of Alice, right? Alice is eventually going to turn into this emaciated gremlin in a storage container somewhere that has to eat this,
like her
blended
pet,
up
like
rats.
it becomes her pet.
Yeah. But that's not the case at all, because like you said, they reveal in the flashbacks with the mom how she got burned in the first place.
Yeah. And it's because Shelley was like, fuck this shit. I thought she bit this guy's dick off, which would have been...
Did not bite the dick.
I would have liked that a lot better. But she went for the finger. So clearly this guy was a fucking pervy creep shoving his fingers in her mouth. And she was like, oh yeah, bitch.
I'll bite it off.
Snatched.
Yeah.
Basically almost bites the finger off. The mother comes in like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. She's got blood all over her mouth. And this guy punches the mother in the gut, steals the money back that he paid, goes downstairs to the kitchen where her mother was cooking, and Shelley comes down as well, and this guy just literally takes the pot of hot oil on the stove and throws it in Shelley's face. And
absolutely insane.
That's how she gets scarred, right? It's also almost like a saving grace because like her mom is like, no, like I can't pimp you like this. We've got to get this to heal. And Shelley's like,
well, that's
what
what you'd assume as a sane person.
Well, yes.
But her mother not being sane, even after her daughter's face now has been mangled for life. No, she's not done. She's ready to pimp you out again.
The mother comes running back in.
Yeah, with the scissors.
And throws her on the bed, holding her tongue out like with the blade to the tongue, like as close as you can get.
Yeah, it was
but
intense.
then something in her is like, what am I doing? What am I doing? There's some level of goodness in her mother that stops her from going that far.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop Shelley. And Shelley's like, yes, hug me, love me, and fucking scissor to the back, bitch.
Scissor to the back. She
slams that
she
scissor
slams
into
the scissor,
wall.
starts choking her out. We get this really cool shot of young Shelley and just her eyes like super intense, like focused on strangling her mother.
And that was the moment.
And then she
snapped.
just lets out this like primal scream.
Yeah.
Props to this girl for
the little girl who played her in this is insane.
She's amazing.
So, no surprises here, but I'll give you a guess about who's in that storage container eating blended up rats, bitch.
Yeah, that's when you start to realize like, oh, this is not really Alice's fate. Alice is not what's the mom is the one in the storage container, and that whole thing is personal. Like, this is a lifelong sentence now that you have with me.
Yep.
You're gonna pay the price for what you did. I'm not gonna
I have to feed you.
Yeah.
But this is what you're gonna eat.
This is what you're gonna eat. I'm gonna keep you alive, and it's just gonna be this torturous, miserable existence. Just
I just
absolutely
can't.
insane.
I just think about that. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple more cool scenes here. We get a lot more of the chloroform So she arranges this thing where she's going to chloroform Alice in record time.
Yeah.
And then she uses Alice's phone to call Michael over. She knocks them both out. And she's like cellophane wrapped the two of them. He's completely incapacitated. Like he's stuck to the floor. He can't do shit. Alice has like just enough movement so she can stab with this knife. And Shelly she wakes them both up and goes, you just got to end this, just stab him right here. But she can't do it.
She's so calm. Mm-hmm. And she's so rooted in so many like lessons learned kind of thing, right? Because this goes back to the cigarettes where she's like, no, you got to throw the pack of cigarettes out.
Right.
You got to do it for yourself.
Yep.
And that was that first foreshadow of this moment of like, I could kill this guy, but you got to do it for
it's
yourself.
Really for you, yeah.
But if you don't want to learn that lesson from Shelly, she's got other tricks in her bag.
She does. And I found myself yelling at the screen at the scene, if you remember, because there are so many moments where as incapacitated as Alice is, right? She doesn't have really that much mobility, but she does have enough mobility to swing this knife, right? Shelly has afforded her that at the very least.
Yeah.
Because she wants her to kill Michael. And there are moments where like, Shelly's like, she's right next to her. Just stab Shelly instead with the knife.
Right. Even if you think there's some level of goodness in Shelly and she's confused and damaged, right?
It's just too risky.
Yeah, no shot.
Yeah.
Stab her enough to incapacitate her.
Yeah, but she doesn't. And then like you say, he pays the price because of the hydrochloric acid. And she just pours it on his leg. And you just see like the skin like bubbling up.
I can't. Just the thought of it, like, I'm like getting chills.
Yeah.
And she goes the leg.
And she does the other leg. And again, this is when I really start like, Alice, just fucking stab her. Like, what are you doing?
She's something.
Pouring acid all over him. Like, now is a good time, I think. Stab her.
I mean, the moment that Shelly just is like, all right, this bitch ain't gonna do it. And she just swiftly opens his mouth, pours it down his throat.
No.
And you're like,
what happens before that?
Oh, his
The
peen.
worst thing. Yes. She poured fucking acid on his penis.
Yeah, but like, he's gonna die anyway, so he didn't need it.
I don't care. The pain. This man must be enduring the pain.
I know, but he's gonna die.
Holy shit. What? I mean, listen, I know it's bad to like cheat on your wife and all, but this is the punishment does not fit the crime here. Like, this guy doesn't deserve this.
No, I mean, this is insane. This is just straight up insanity. That's what we're talking about right now. Yeah. So, but once it's down the throat, I'm like, at that point, just stab him, because now you're just letting him be tortured. You're not going to live after swallowing that. Okay.
Again, like, this guy's performance here is so weak.
Yeah.
He doesn't sell the fact that right now, dude, you're way too calm for you to have just had both your legs like fucking eroded away with acid. Your dick is eroding away with acid. She just poured it right down your throat. You've swallowed this. Your insides are eroding. Your tongue is burned off. You're just kind of laying there like, I'm kind of in pain.
That whole time we're just going, just waiting for it.
I mean, the time is only elongated by this guy's just shit performance at dying. Because they just keep cutting to him and you're like, guy, like, give me something. Shelly takes Alice with her and she's off to her childhood home. I love the touch here that it's like the house hasn't been cleaned like probably since the whole event with her mom.
I mean, the
power has been off that seemingly for years. Like, the power is completely like, she doesn't pay any bills. Like, she's just completely squatting here. Everything is completely deteriorated around her. Yeah. So the wife follows them there, right? Because she had tailed Michael to Alice's place because she obviously suspected that he was having the affair.
Yeah. Clearly knows something's up, because like, why is your husband sneaking out to go to this fucking squalor palace? And comes across Alice like dirty, tied up in a nasty bathroom in this broke down ass house, and wants to ask 40 fucking questions.
Yep. When she sees Alice, she immediately kind of questions like, I think this is the woman. This is the one.
Yes, 100%. But like,
so that's, I think, where her hesitation lies. But, she does ultimately free her, and they try to escape.
Yeah, except it took too long, and then she gets a shovel to the fucking face.
Shovel to the face kill, I thought was really cool. Alice nearly gets away. And here we have our second window shattering, right? Now Shelly is able to superhumanly smash punch through the window in one shot.
One shot.
Yeah.
Clean, broken into 1,000 pieces. Not even just like,
shattered. Whatever. I mean, Shelley gets the better of Alice, as she should. I mean, it makes sense. In a one-on-one scenario like this, you're not gonna beat Shelley. Like she's a professional. She knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing, and she's got you in the best place that she can have you.
Yeah, the reveal at the end I thought was great. You know, a lot of people that were complaining I saw about this movie, like they were giving it bad ratings because they said it had a bad ending. And I'm like, I think you just sort of missed the whole point of the movie, because ultimately what happens is she's got Alice now chained up in the house. She
recreated the entire room, which is the thing.
Like her dollhouse, just like
Alice's room. But the wallpaper is the thing that gets me. Like this bitch went in and ripped the wallpaper down and reapplied it into this room. You see all the wrinkles and the bubbles of it like being beat up, her dresser, her bed.
And what outfits. Do you see? What's the last shot we see, right? You alluded to this earlier.
Yeah.
Is Shelley peeking through the window of the house to look in at her perfect little blonde pretty doll
in the bed. It's very specific. She positions the little doll into the bed every time.
So now it's like, this is now that doll that she played with in the dollhouse to create her reality. Now she's going to peer in on Alice's reality and pretend that this is her doll, and this is that she can live vicariously through Alice.
You're like a Barbie doll.
Her perfect existence. Yeah, she even she calls her a Barbie earlier in the movie. So I don't know, like if you look at that ending, and just because it smash cuts there, you know, with the reveal of like, oh, Alice is now under Shelley's thumb basically, and that's it. That's how this one ends.
Those are people who love the fucking American horror story endings where
there's always redemption. Like a happy ending.
Like, no. Dark shit is what makes it scary.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's as dark as it gets.
All right, well, let's move on to our final segment here. Head to head.
Woo!
We're bringing it back.
It's back.
Will
I keep my streak is the question.
Well, this is a fun one. We're selecting the best movie snacks.
Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, but fun because everybody loves
snacks.
So I've narrowed this down to, it has to be something that's sold in most movie theaters at the concessions.
Are you really doing no beverages?
No beverages.
What? Beverage is an essential part.
No. I want to do no beverages. I want to keep it purely in the snacks category.
I'm disagreeing with this, but fine.
Yeah, I just felt like it was easy. We only get 4 picks each. I think it's easier to zone in on just the food, not the beverage.
Okay.
So those are the only 2 rules. I believe I have first pick, right?
No, I have first pick because I won.
No, we alternate first picks. You selected All I Want for Christmas Is You as the first pick in the last head-to-head.
I thought but I also got to select the first one in the zombie.
No, you had first pick in the Scream Queens draft. I know the order. It's every other. Why are you questioning this?
Because I thought like I win. What's my point of winning then?
The point of winning is that you won, but the first pick it alternates every time.
I hate this.
We alternate the advantage of the first pick. Go ahead.
This is a scam.
All right, I got the 101. Look, it's a freaking movie snacks.
Whatever.
Draft.
Pick your
I'm picking popcorn.
Treat.
Popcorn that's the go-to trademark #1 staple movie snack.
That's fine. You can have popcorn all you want.
And you got to have it with the butter. You got to put a lot of salt on it.
Yeah.
Like you fucking go for it.
Great. You can have that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if you have mine on this list.
Well, then go ahead and pick it.
I'm going to see if it's on the list. I'm going to go with the soft pretzel nuggets. And cheese.
I have soft pretzel on there. It's the same
but it's
thing.
very specific.
No, if you're drafting soft pretzel, you just get the soft pretzel. It's the soft pretzel or the nuggets. It's the same thing.
No,
they're the same snack, and just in a different form.
After this podcast, guess what's going to happen? A poll on our page that says, "Is this pretzel nugget the same as a soft pretzel?" That's not.
Fine. In the context of this draft, though, it's the same pick because I can't then therefore say I'll take the soft pretzel and just negate your pick.
No, but I want it to be very specific. Movie theaters don't sell soft pretzels. They sell soft pretzel nuggets with the cheese.
I've 100% had a full soft pretzel at a movie theater.
I don't know where the hell you go. You go to some Squalor Palace theaters.
All right, so soft pretzel nuggets, very strong pick. That was definitely on my short list.
Because it's usually that like when we would go, we get popcorn, and then usually that's when you want soft pretzel nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So then.
They can't have popcorn.
No. Well, I have the popcorn. You have the soft pretzel nuggets.
That's what I'm saying.
That's your counter. So I don't get soft pretzel nuggets now. That might have been my next pick. I don't know. I'm gonna refresh here a little bit. No, I think I know exactly where I'm going. I'm not much of a sweets guy, right? But if there is one sweet that I would really indulge in during a movie on this list, it's definitely ice cream. So I'm going with ice cream. I 100% love a nice ice cream sundae during the movie.
I just want to say you just lost.
All right. I don't care because I'm not a candy.
Fighting words.
I'm not a candy guy.
All right.
Right. So, but every once in a while you want to switch it up. It's like, oh, I don't really feel like the popcorn. It's a little salty. I want to go for something sweet. Hit me with the ice cream.
I am going to definitely go the sweet route again.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Well, no, you went savory up front too.
I'm sorry, sweet route on this turn.
Right.
So I'm going to go with Sour Patch Kids because.
Knew you were picking this.
Well, first of all, you just know, like, between that and another one on this list, my favorite candies. The reason I choose Sour Patch Kids is it's a great balance to the salty.
Mm-hmm.
It's sweet. It's a little sour. You eat them slow enough that they last throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
And they're delicious. So Sour Patch Kids is my number 2.
Yeah, I like it. It's a strong pick. It might have definitely been one of my picks, but like maybe my last pick.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm not a candy guy, but there is something about a few Sour Patch Kids I like.
Yep.
It's not like an aggressive candy sweet wise. It's got the sour to kind of cancel it out.
Yep.
Geez, this is tough. I just have that urge to go savory again because that's so where my palate lies. But I know it's not going to get me votes. So I'm like, I'm contemplating, do I go with my heart and like pick the thing that I like next? Or do I pick the thing that I think is going to get the most votes?
Yeah, my next pick is tough.
I'm going to go with cookie dough bites.
Son of a bitch.
Cookie dough bites. That seems like if I really wanted to be fat,
yeah,
that you can get me on some cookie dough bites again because I'm not a candy guy. So if I'm looking for sweets, I'm looking for ice cream or cookies. I feel like that one, it's like, okay, if I really want to be like a fat shit for this one,
yeah,
you can convince me into some cookie dough bites.
I'm definitely into some cookie dough bites for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be one of the
There you
two
go.
options. So you just stole that out from under me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine.
I know what your other one is.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You think you know, but I'm about to blow your mind.
Okay.
Snow caps.
What? No shot I had you peg for snow caps.
Yep. Here's why.
What?
Snow caps, I'm going for the nostalgia right now. Snow caps are a nostalgic movie treat. Back to our childhood before like the assortment was abundant. You had very minimal things, and snow caps are a perfect blend to what I already have. I have the salty, I have the sweet and sour, I have the chocolate moment. So
The
I'm
chocolate
pretty
moment,
yes,
if you will.
pretty rounded out.
Okay.
I know exactly what you thought
Well-
my pick was going to be, and you were wrong.
There's two. I thought you were gonna do the Swedish fish. You love Swedish fish.
I do love Swedish fish.
So
I
maybe that
think
maybe
your
that'll
other gonna be. You should know. I keep them in the house 24/7.
Oh, see, that wasn't even what I thought you were gonna pick.
What?
I thought you were gonna pick churros.
No.
You love churros.
I do love a churro, but not in a movie theater.
All right, because they do have them in the movies now.
Yeah.
All right, this is my last pick.
Last pick.
Jesus, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go here. I think this is a strong last pick because again, this is like where the popcorn is sort of like the healthier version of the savory.
Yeah.
You know, it's still bad, but it's like, all right, but it's just popcorn. It's not too
light.
bad. This is like the fat shit version of the savory.
you're
It's the
picking.
nachos
Yeah, I
with the
knew you were
case
gonna do
with the queso dip. Right? We've done this a couple times. You and I are like, let's skip the popcorn. Let's go with the fucking nachos.
Usually it's like, all right, Nuggets and nachos, bitch. Let's do it. Pretzel nuggets specific.
Yeah, the problem with those two things though is like you're just dipping it into queso, both of them.
It's great.
I know, but I like to mix it.
Well, it's not in the same list is what I'm saying. It's like
this is a good counter to your soft pretzel. The nachos.
It is. But what I will say is you're catering to the people who aren't candy eaters right now. And I'm going to cater to the candy game because I'm going to hit you with one that's going to make you want to puke. But the last, you got to go with the Reese's Pieces.
Oh, I mean, strong pick.
Reese's Pieces, but I just pulled a YMH Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, it's Reese's Pieces.
It's 100% Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, it rhymes.
Yes. Now,
there's no word pieces.
But it's also that like...
The word is pieces.
It's also...
What word is pieces?
I get it because people like to say Reese's Pieces, but it's Reese's...
But it's Reese's Pieces.
Pieces, people. It's another debate we can have.
Yeah, no.
Specifically, though, Reese's Pieces, because the cups are not ideal for a movie. Because it's either two and you're done.
You corner the market on both. Like, again.
I'm just
you don't
saying.
Double down. Yeah.
I am doubling down that my decision is Reese's Pieces.
Is Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
These are the little bites, right? They're like M&Ms, but
they're
Reese's.
M&Ms, but peanut butter. Mm-hmm. So again, I really rounded out the flavors. Nightmare. It is your nightmare.
Yeah.
So I've got the sweet and sour. I've got the salty. I've got the straight up chocolate. And I've got the extra like sweet and salty.
Right. The beauty of my ice cream pick, though, is whatever flavor you want.
It's fair enough, but like you gotta eat that shit quick. It doesn't necessarily like. What are you gonna do if you're watching Titanic?
Oh, it's fine. They have like Cold Stones in these freaking movie theaters now. Like,
I'm not gonna sell your decision for you, but after the podcast, I'll talk about why ice cream is a good option. But I'm not gonna sell it on this so that you win.
I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about like how you have the chocolate element. I'm like, well, you can have the chocolate element with my snacks list.
100%. You
just have chocolate ice cream. Put some chocolate syrup on there if you want. Put chocolate sprinkles.
My picks are definitely rooted in the longevity of the snack.
All right. Well, then that's it. That's the list.
So I've
got popcorn. I have ice cream. I have nachos, and I have cookie dough bites.
Yeah. You have a very filling assortment. I have pretzel nuggets. What was my side? Sour Patch Kids.
Right, Snow Caps.
And Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. All right.
It's pretty strong.
They're both obviously, yours doesn't appeal to me, but like you said, it will appeal to many people.
And yours doesn't appeal to me because it's too many like hearty snacks.
Well, you know how I am.
I know. Ravenous. I like to feel like I'm eating for longer.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Go watch The Cleaning Lady if you haven't.
Definitely don't watch The Invisible Man.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Or this fucking songbird trash.
Yeah, no, you don't have to watch The Invisible Man.
We told you everything you needed to know.
All right. That's it until next time. Remember, we don't give awards for art.